Alright, now, I don't care who you are, where you came from, or how much money you had when you were born. Everybody has that one genre of music where they're just like, yeah, I don't mess with this at all. I think it's stupid. And maybe they might even think that I hate this genre of music. I've heard people say that they hate country, they can't stand pop, they hate metal, whatever it may be. For me, that genre is probably R&B, and don't get mad at me just yet. I'm going to explain why. But before all that, I just want to say, forget what you think. Forget all of your dislike towards one genre. I think you're worse off for not engaging with that genre. So this whole argument is kind of based in the assumption that artistic integrity is fully intact, where the music being created, regardless of genre, is being created to express artistic intent. Now, obviously, there is music that lies outside of having artistic integrity, but that's kind of like playing a different game with different rules and should be judged differently too. But assuming that music is created with artistic integrity and artistic intent, it takes hours to make a song. I'm a musician myself. I produce my own music, and just the writing alone can take anywhere from 30 minutes to weeks sometimes. Just weeks of trying things and trying to see what fits, leaving it and coming back. It takes a long time, and that's just the writing, mind you. Not to mention the recording aspect. I mean, even before recording, you kind of have to practice it in your brain, make sure it sounds like what it's supposed to sound like. They might say you want to record a demo, so you have all the parts. They're not super polished or anything, but just so everything's the idea is there. And making a demo to a listenable state is 2 hours, maybe 1 hour, depending on the arrangement. And then, like I said, the recording always takes longer than you would think it does. If you think recording drums for a song is going to take an hour and a half, then it's going to be 2.5 hours. Just add an extra hour onto whatever you think it is. And mind you, that's only the drums. To record the guitars now, and the vocals, and the bass, and the keyboards, or any other instruments there might be, that's maybe 8 or 9 hours. So in total, we're at about anywhere from about 9.5 hours to well over a couple weeks. And again, mind you, that's just the recording. That's just putting the microphone to the instrument and capturing it, so then you can play it back and listen to what you recorded. That's not even accounting for production, which is kind of taking all those recorded snippets and putting them together in various ways to get the desired sound. And then on top of that, you have to edit parts to make sure they're sounding good or up to snuff or whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. And then after all of that, you gotta mix it, so then the sonic frequencies are balancing with each other, and it makes it just a more pleasant, or at the very least, it makes it sound the way that you envision it in your brain. So that includes making sure the bass can punch through, making sure the drums are punchy enough or washed out if that's what you want out of your song. Then even then, we're still not done because we have to master the song, which if mixing is taking the individual parts and making them sound nice together, mastering is taking that whole track, that single track, and making it sound even better. So that includes making it loud enough and making sure, again, the frequencies balance with other songs in your genre, or if you're doing an album, make sure it balances with the rest of the album. Then all along that process, you're making revisions. If you do a mix and then you realize oh shoot, I can't hear the snare drum, you gotta go back, adjust the snare drum, maybe adjust some other things to make the snare drum pop more, and you listen to it again, and then oh shoot, the guitars are getting washed out now. Okay, what can I do? You just keep revising, and then the whole process takes, I don't know, oh my god, maybe 20 hours on the low end for each song, again, with artistic integrity. And, I mean, that includes, or rather does not include, the time spent writing, which is so variable. I'm having a hard time thinking about this, because geez, there's so much that goes into just one recorded song. So my point in explaining all of that is recording one song is an easy 20-hour process, and along the way of that 20 hours, the artists or the people involved were like, yeah, this is good. I'm listening to this over and over again. This is good. We're gonna keep running with this. We're not gonna scrap it. We're gonna keep pushing it. We're gonna keep improving it. We're gonna keep working on it. So then, as a listener, to like listen to 30 seconds of something and being like, yeah, I don't like this, or this is just not for me, which is kind of saying the same thing but in a nicer way. That really sucks, man. And I'm not saying you have to like everything. I'm not saying that you can't have preferences, but I mean, come on, you got to listen to more than 30 seconds of a song before you determine if you like it. And maybe this is just like wishful thinking or optimistic thinking, but if someone or a team of people is willing to put 20 hours behind a song, there's got to be like some value in there, right? So now back to what I was saying about me not liking R&B. My reasons for not liking R&B are basically that I don't like over-singing, and I don't like it when jazziness just turns into chromaticism. That makes me roll my eyes so hard. But on the other end, things that I do like about R&B is that I think they're able to create energy without being loud, if that makes sense. There's always something to learn with any genre of music, I think. And that's just what I've picked up with R&B. And I've started to implement that idea of loudness does not equal energy into my own music as a metalhead myself, which is kind of funny because like metal could be said to be the loudest types of music of them all. And then on top of that, I feel like R&B does this kind of like groove and placement of beats really, really well. I'm talking more like 90s R&B, but that idea of groove and placement, you don't get that anywhere else, at least in the same way. Now, I will say I don't like modern R&B as much. Excuse me. I don't like modern R&B as much as like 90s R&B, especially like Atlanta type R&B. But modern R&B is just as much R&B as 90s R&B. I'm laughing because I've said R&B a lot in the past 30 seconds. And I mean, that goes for other genres. I like country, but a lot of people will dunk on country. And I think there's a reason behind that too. I think the idea of music not being created with artistic integrity can be traced into country at times. But what I can learn from country is that the acoustic nature of things is powerful. So, depending on the song, of course, I will set up a microphone recording my electric guitar, even though the electric guitar is usually recorded through an amp. And I'll also record the amp, of course, but I'll have like what's called a room mic, capturing the little picks and little scratches that I make on the instrument itself, and then blending that with the amp sound. It kind of gives it like an in-the-room type of feel. And I could learn something from pop music too. I, for the longest time, did not like Taylor Swift. I would still say I'm not a big fan, but especially in her earlier albums, it's like she has a good sense of melody, and her lyrics are good, and they're catchy, and they're memorable. I want my songs to be catchy and memorable, so I could take a note out of her book in that sense. I feel like I'm noticing a pattern too, where I mention older stuff, and I don't really enjoy the new stuff as much. And I think part of that is due to preference, but part of that could be also, I think the older stuff just had a lot more artistic integrity compared to the new stuff. Obviously, that's not entirely true. And maybe I should challenge that, kind of like how I'm challenging this idea of genres and trying to learn something from them. And you don't even have to be a musician to take this idea of hating genres and how that holds you back, because I mean, at the end of the day, music is storytelling, and again, within that 20 hours of what it takes to write a song, there's a story to be told there. I hear a lot of like, I mean, especially older people saying that they don't really like rap, it doesn't speak to them or whatever. And I think that they're worse off for having that opinion because, again, I'm going to go back to like 90s rap, but they're talking about like their reality, the rappers are, their struggles. And I mean, the one that comes to mind is like Nas in his song New York State of Mind. It might sound like he's kind of glamorizing his lifestyle of violence and what he's come up with and around, but you listen to it a bunch more times and I mean, for me, it's a kind of sad song. Like, this is the reality that so many people have to live with, and this is just all they know. They don't know anything else besides cycle of violence. And I'm doing a disservice by talking about it like this, but well, that's why the song exists. Just listen to the song and you will hopefully, ideally, understand a different kind of life. I mean, that's why I like rap so much. It's just that it's a window into a new life that I otherwise probably would have never known. So maybe I've been yapping long enough, so I'm just going to leave it with this. I challenge you to think of the genre that you despise the most and find some music that you enjoy from that genre, and try to think about like why maybe you like this sound in this genre that you don't like. Like the thing I was saying about R&B and how the 90s R&B, Atlanta R&B kind of grooves, and I really like that. And you know what? I don't think you have to like something to understand it or like something for it to change you, right? So yeah, there you go. I'll leave it at that. Peace.